see those sleigh bells jingling, ring, ting-a-ling-a-ling. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this intro of like cozy reading vlogs in cafes and so forth. This video is actually not going to be about the secret history. I know in those two cafe scenes I actually read the secret history and not the book I want to talk to you about today. But yeah, let's just ignore that, right? Anyway, as you could see in the very first clip, it has started to snow where I live, and that is exactly what I waited for until I wanted to read this book and then talk to you about it. Because today I want to introduce to you the fourth feature of my cinematic book club, and that is Murder, She Wrote. Now, Murder, She Wrote is a series from the 80s and 90s. It's a Universal production starring Angela Lansbury in the leading role of J.B. Fletcher, Jessica Fletcher, a retired English teacher living in Cabot Cove, New England, turned murder mystery novelist after her retirement who has this tendency to get involved in real life crime and murder, well, every other day basically. It was an extremely successful series, that's for sure. It has 12 seasons and 4 separate movies. I think in total it's like 256 episodes or something like that. I really love it. It's super cozy often, when it's especially when it's taking place in like this little fisherman's village of Cabot Cove. A lot of the some other episodes though take place somewhere else in the United States and so forth, but like even in international scenes. But I personally especially like the ones that are taking place in Cabot Cove, because it has this cozy little village vibe. And we have our main character, Jessica's sidekicks, the doctor, Seth Hazlitt, and the sheriff of the town. Like, these are her trusty buddies who always like end up helping her, at least when the murders are taking place in Cabot Cove. And yeah, usually it's like a friend or a family member who gets involved in like some sort of murder somewhere in the world, and Jessica has to fly in to save the day, basically. It's super nice. And at the same time, because it is somewhat of an older production from the 80s and 90s, it is super innocent. Like, you never see anything brutal or scandalous or anything like that. Like, seriously, you can have a toddler watch this and it will be fine. But anyway, in the Cinematic Book Club series on my channel, we connect series or movie with their literary adaptations. And that's actually the right phrase this time, because it was not that this was a book series turned into a television series, but this was a very famous television series that has now, I think quite recently, been turned into a book series. I was so surprised when I saw this one day at the bookshop, more specifically at the Waterstones in Gower Street in London. I really love that one. I think it's my favorite Waterstones. And I was just browsing the crime section as one does, you know, and I look around and I'm like, wait, that's Jessica Fletcher, look at me right in the face. And they had, I think, 2 entire shelves full of these little Murder, She Wrote booklets. Oh yeah, and it really says this only came out in 2020. So this really is like a very recent idea they apparently came up in. And right here it also says like it's based on the Universal television series created by blah blah blah. And I think it's really cute that they say that this is dedicated to Angela Lansbury, who starred in the series as Jessica Fletcher. Plus, apparently they found some woman with the actual name Jessica Fletcher to co-write this, so they could put her name on the title, because obviously Jessica Fletcher, it's a fictional character, but they say this was written by Jessica Fletcher, which of course is not possible. So yeah, that's a smart move on their part, I guess. But anyway, so there are already a lot of books published in this series, 2 full-on columns, and I picked this one. And by the cover, you can already judge that it's not a surprise that I waited until the very first snowfall to pick this one up, because as you can see, this murder mystery is taking place not only in the winter, but in a full-on blizzard. Now, this is one of the mysteries that is actually taking place in Cabot Cove, as I just said, in the winter. Jessica Fletcher, she is not right now staying in her own house, but she's living at the local hotel, Hill House. Nothing to do with Shirley Jackson's Hill House, though, keep that in mind, because her house is being renovated and so on and so forth. The rest of the hotel is booked out by a wedding party, and they all get snowed in by the Century's Worst blizzard. Now, the family of the bride and groom, they apparently hate each other. There's like some family feuds between those 2 families, but also like within each of these families going on, aka a lot of drama. The bride and groom themselves actually do not show up because they got stuck in like a motel in the area because like of the snow. They couldn't actually reach the hotel themselves. So basically we have these 2 families that don't like each other snowed in, and then murder stuff happening, of course, starting with the mother of the groom, who keels over at the dinner table, having been poisoned. She doesn't die immediately, but lays in a coma, and that's when Jessica starts kind of like snooping around, only to soon afterwards discover the corpse of the brother of the groom, and so on and so forth. Now, the setting, of course, is like a very Agatha Christie-esque setting, as in like we have like a sealed off location, if you will. It's not like an island, but they might as well be on a secluded island because no one can enter or come to this hotel because of the blizzard going on. Actually, Agatha Christie has a similar plot to this as well in the Mousetrap. That's not a novel, but a play that she wrote. It's like, I think, the longest running play in London's West End. Personally, I've seen it twice. I really love it. And that also features like an inn, not a hotel, but like an Airbnb. Yeah, right. A bed and breakfast, a B&B. Nothing to do with Airbnb. That's also getting like snowed in and, well, people start dying. You know the drill. Now, I gotta say, as much as I love the series and as much as I like this idea that now they're like, they're writing these tiny mysteries inspired by the series, I gotta say I did not really love this one. First of all, this isn't only published in 2020, but they have transported all of Cabot Cove and Jessica Fletcher and everything into the 21st century as well, which it just feels weird. In the series, Jessica Fletcher is writing on a typewriter, and in here we're talking Wi-Fi connections and iPhones, and that just feels wrong. But I could look over that, but the voices of the characters are completely different than from the series. Like Jessica Fletcher, the way she talks in here, she doesn't talk like that in the series, and that's really bothering me. And also like her sidekicks, the doctor and the sheriff, they are like completely different people, and that's a bit weird. So that's why I didn't particularly enjoy this, to be really honest. Plus the actual like murders and stuff itself, I marked it here in the book. Stuff really only starts to happen at like literally halfway through. And I know this isn't like a long book, it's pretty small in format and it's not that thick, but still like stuff only really starts happening halfway through, which, well, that was just like a bit, I don't know, disappointing, I guess. But I mean, I'm glad I gave this a try anyway. But I guess at the end of the day, more than the books, for once, I can actually recommend you to check out the series if you're into these kind of like innocent and cozy murder mystery series from like the 80s and 90s. There are a bunch of them out there, right? I will now show you like a few clips of one of the episodes that I'm recently watching with my mother. By the way, as far as I could tell, these novels, they have come up with new plots. Like, they did not take singular episodes and turn them into books, but they actually came up with new stuff. And for that, I have to give them kudos because, as I mentioned, there are 256 episodes and 4 movies. So to come up with new stuff, that's a feat. Anyway, that was that. Now to close this video off, I'm going to show you a few clips of the series itself. I hope you will enjoy it. And by the way, did you see my little Christmas decoration right here in the background? This candle I usually have on my desk and I never move it over when I'm filming, but for the sake of starting Christmas season, I thought I would. I hope you enjoyed it. Anyway, so I will now already be signing off. I hope you enjoyed this. Definitely let me know if you're going to check out the series, the books, the movies. I highly recommend you to do any of that. And with that, I wish you a happy start into Christmas season. Bye!
Up a tree. But my deputy, who used to take care of that sort of thing, quit on me. Why don't you try setting out a dish of tuna? Afternoon, Miss Fletcher.
Amos.
I hope I didn't catch you in the middle of something.
Well, I am facing a deadline, and I still have 4 chapters to go without having a clear idea as to how it's going to end. In my chowder.
Yeah. I didn't figure it was one of your special ingredients.
It's also not something I keep around my kitchen, so it couldn't have found its way into the chowder by mistake.